You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Today's episode is brought to you by Pure Annata, Fabricland Winkler, and Evolve Green. In today's episode, number one of the Saskatoon Stars in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, Kaitlyn Cadrain, sits down with me to talk about her 3-year career with the Saskatoon Stars. We go way back to her rookie season where she had the chance to experience playing on a championship team as the Saskatoon Stars repeated as champs, went on to Westerns, and qualified for the Esso Cup. I had a chance to ask her about her experience getting to play some games in the Esso Cup. We also dive into her second season and, of course, this very short season this year where she had a chance to play in 2 regular season games. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cup of joe or whatever you guys bring with you to enjoy Coffee with Graeme. I'll be sitting down now with number one of the Saskatoon Stars, Kaitlyn Cadrain, on this edition of the show. Joining me once again is number one of the Saskatoon Stars, Kaitlyn Cadrain. Kaitlyn joined me last time to talk about her commitment to Maryville University. We're going to dive into her career with the Saskatoon Stars now in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. Again, you've had a chance to win a championship with this team, go to the Esso Cup. You've had a chance to play a solid 2 full seasons in this league as well, unfortunately not being able to really play much this season due to COVID-19 shutting down the league. But let's go back to that first year in 2018-19 where you guys ended up winning the championship, going to the Esso Cup. Just what was it like joining that team in the Saskatoon Stars?
It was a great experience, and felt really awesome to be a part of a team that was so successful, especially the coaches we had. Like, I admired them as soon as I came in, and it was just great to be with the girls, especially all the girls that went off to play university hockey and in female championships. It was a great experience, and I wish I have it again soon.
And what was that like for you, joining a team with so much experience?
It was definitely challenging at first, but it was definitely something I could learn from, being in like a new player and such a adapted such a evolved team. Really helped me grow like that.
You move away from Prince Albert to play with Saskatoon. What was that experience like? I mean, I think we talked about it a bit last time. Just dive into what that experience was like just when it finally came to, fruition that you were going to be moving away to play in the Saskatoon for the Saskatoon Stars.
It was a very quick transition. I just made Saskatoon a week before I actually moved, so we had to figure out housing, everything with the team and everything else. And probably one of the bigger challenges would be that I was one of the only players that are actually one of the only players outside of the city moving in, and also someone that didn't really play with any of the girls before. Like, all the girls have either been playing together for 4 years, whether it's with the Stars or just in spring hockey, with the Husky prospects and everything.
For you coming in, you had a chance, of course, to play with an experienced team. There was 6 rookies on that team. What was it like getting to bond with not only the rookies in that first season, but the experienced vets as well?
It was good to bond. Definitely a different atmosphere than I was used to, and especially how they were all so close to begin with, and I kind of other one out. But over the years, I definitely bond with all the 6 rookies. Some more than the rest of them, but it was great to have.
You guys end up winning the championship in that season, qualifying for the Esso Cup. Take me back to what that championship run was like. I know you didn't get any playing time in the playoffs, but just getting to sit back and watch the Saskatoon team go out and be on top of the league, win the league. What was that playoff run like for you guys to have the chance to qualify for the Esso Cup?
It was great to see, and it was also something like I saw all season. Whether I was on the bench or playing, it was just fun to watch them. Like the systems that we created, how like easily flowing it was. Even though I didn't get to play any playoffs, it was just like great to be still on that team, and I felt just as much as the team as any other player would, whether they're playing as well.
You ended up having a record of 11 wins, 1 loss in that rookie season that you had, a save percentage of 897, a 2.02 goals against average, and 3 shutouts. Just what did you feel was the biggest factor in you being able to put up the wins that you did in that season, as well as having the shutouts that you did?
Just having a great team in front of me, and also like supportive coaches who would help me adapt to like the new playing style I had to get into in order to make the right saves at the right time.
What did you feel like was the biggest strength for you coming in that first season? Of course, you play behind a strong team, but for you to come in, I mean, some of it had to be you're doing, right? Just why how did you feel was your biggest strength in that first season for you to have the type of success that you did?
Probably my ability to adapt, because even before, like I improved a lot in the summer before I went to the Stars, and just that being able to learn and like absorb what I'm being taught definitely came to help me, because there's definitely some things I needed to work on before I actually got a net, and it showed as I went through it, playing each game, my improvement.
What was it like for you? I mean, just you talked about how you adapted. What was it like adapting against just going up against more mature players in the league, players that, some of them are a year older than you, some of them 2 years older?
I guess it's just like kind of showing me like what I can get to, and like what 3 years or 4 years can do to a player. So that was just kind of my outlook on it.
Let's dive into the Esso Cup, but actually, before we do that, just of course, you don't get to play any playoff games, but I'm sure you were just ecstatic when you saw that clock hit zeros and you guys were champions. Just what was the reaction like from all of your teammates? Just for all of you guys knowing that you guys were league champions.
It was just like a relief, and it was just so good to finally have that title on us. Like I know all the rest of the teams in the league kind of were intimidated, and they kind of saw it coming, but just having it come reality and not like so much as an expectation just really like boosted our happiness and got us prepared to go to the Westerns and then the ESO championship.
Let's dive into the Westerns, just going up against the Western Wildcats, who ended up sweeping the Winnipeg Avros in their final series in the MFHL. You guys go up against a team that, had an amazing goaltender in Natalie Williams and a great team, a team that finished first in their league. Just what was the preparation like going into that qualifying series in the Westerns to eventually qualify for the Esso Cup?
It was just the same routine, just same game, same mindset. Not worrying so much about what the outcome could bring us, but just playing the game we love and just getting it done, and just doing everything we can to win.
Did you have a chance to play any games in the Westerns?
No, I didn't. I don't believe it was that many games either, but they just kept playing Arden, and Arden was doing very well. So
Could you speak about Arden and just how she had an impact on you throughout the 2 seasons that you got to play with her? Of course, this was a goaltending that put up insane numbers in that season that you had your rookie season in 2018-19. Just talk about the types of things that you learned from a goaltender in Arden.
We have different playing styles, so I didn't learn too much on that, but I guess I kind of learned another way to play, and I just was able to watch that over the years. And then she's always been a pretty big role model to me in my hockey career. Even before I even played with her, I recognized her and wow, she's pretty good. I hope I can get there someday.
How did you feel you guys played in those Westerns? Obviously, you guys qualified for the Esso Cup, but were there things in your guys' game that you guys wanted to correct going into the Esso Cup to have a better chance to become the national champions?
Nothing that I really think of other than just working together as we usually had, not going against each other and just working together with all our different strengths and everything.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Back here on Coffee with Graeme with Kaitlyn Cadrain, number 1 of the Saskatoon Stars, and I've just been talking to Kaitlyn about her rookie season in the league with Saskatoon, winning that championship and qualifying for the Esso Cup after winning Westerns. And I forget, did you guys have Westerns in Saskatoon? Is that where they were?
It was in Saskatchewan.
So what was that like, getting to qualify for the Esso Cup in front of just, I'm sure it was a packed crowd?
Yeah, it was good. It was good to be at home and have that home crowd feeling.
And what was it like once you guys got to Sudbury? I'm sure all the parents came out. Just what was it like having them there for support during your guys' quest to, potentially win the Esso Cup?
It was good to have our parents and the fans in the stand. It was definitely giving you a sense of familiarity with that, but it definitely helped the experience for me.
Well, we'll get into that in just a moment, but what was it like getting to travel to a place like Sudbury, Ontario to compete for a national championship?
It was good. We definitely got to bond with the teammates. We through the long bus ride to from Toronto to Sudbury, and then the wait on the planes for a few hours. We played some games with our coaches. Even some of the vets pulled some tricks on them. It was pretty fun.
You had a chance to play in 3 games in the Esso Cup. You had a chance to play in that bronze medal game, and you talked about experience and how it was great for you. Could you dive into what the experience was like for you in the Esso Cup?
It was also a experience that I could grow from. I personally don't think I did as good as I could have at that point, but it was a pretty stressful situation with all the scouts and everyone there. And then when Arden got hurt in the semifinal game, and then I had to go in the next game with a backup goalie, only bonus I know Arden. I usually have Arden for the support. It was just pretty stressful, and being a first-year player in national championship can definitely take a toll.
And of course, Arden goes down. I'm just hearing this now, which was terrible for you guys with how just great she was, and it definitely put a lot of pressure on you, like you said. But how would you say you handled those moments of pressure in the situations you were put in?
I think I handled them well. Probably sometimes better than I should have, but the game started off well. Like I had played in the game before, and it came down to a shootout, which is always hard on a goalie. So yeah, that just happened.
And after finishing first in the preliminary round, you guys end up losing in those semifinals, in that semifinal game, losing to Stony Creek in the in the bronze medal game. And just after the whole experience that you went through, going up against the best teams in Canada at that point, just what would you say you took away from the whole experience of playing in the Esso Cup?
From what I learned about the difficulties my team had, like our coaches at the end of the game, especially after we lost to the Slash, we've been preparing to play the Slash again because they are the ones who had beat us the year before. I took away from that there has to be hardships in order to grow. Like you can't go a full season without having say any losses like how we had. Like you need to be able to know what it feels like because our second loss of the season was in the Esso Cup semifinal.
And for you, just coming out of that experience of just being able to win the league, even though you weren't playing in any games in the playoffs, getting to qualify for the Esso Cup and Westerns, and just going through the whole journey of the Esso Cup, the experience of that. Just what was the mindset for you after that, after realizing there's some things I could have done better, there's some things that I did really good? What was your mindset going into your second season with Saskatoon after that?
My next mindset, even though we lost a lot of our key players, I just thought just keep improving yourself, and hopefully that you'll get there back to Esso Cup in order to face the Slash again, either this year or the next year.
Well, I'll be right back with you, Kaitlyn, to talk more about your career in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. We're going to go to another commercial break in today's show. You're going to hear from one of our other sponsors besides Pure Annata, Fabricland Winkler, and Evolve Green. I've been joined by Kaitlyn Cadrain, number one of the Saskatoon Stars in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, here on this edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV. Back on this edition of Coffee with Graeme with Kaitlyn Cadrain, and I've been talking to Kaitlyn about, if you guys have just been tuning in, if you guys are just tuning in at this point in the show, I've just been talking to Kaitlyn about her experience playing in her first season with Saskatoon back in 2018-19, as well as getting to play in the Esso Cup as well. Let's move into your 2019-2020 season now. You're a year older. You guys come in. It's a younger team, 11 rookies. So what was it like just for you moving into more of a leadership role, getting to mentor some of the rookies on the team that season, if you did?
I definitely came out of my shell more. It wasn't so much that I was the younger player, and I came to know my role as being someone that was older. So I did not as much this last year take as many under my wing because, again, they're older rookies that came in, like Ava Metzger and Annika Gauthier. They both came from Melville. So I just, like, had the mindset of just keeping all the girls, like, keeping the relationship with the girls healthy and just, like, being someone that they can come and talk to whenever they need it.
And with a team like you guys coming off an Esso Cup berth, finishing fourth there, I'm sure you guys had a goal to get back there in that season, but I felt like you guys knew it was going to be tougher with losing girls like Grace Shirley, Kaitlyn Cadrain. You lost every top 5 point getter on your team, Ashley Messier, who was in top 5 on the team in points, who was also a defenseman. So you lost some offense from the defense. Lost 4 defensemen in that season. So what was the goal for you guys in that second season into, just heading into the season?
We also had a new coach that came in that year, Robin. That was her first success. Basically, what the expectations were for that year was just to win games. We knew we weren't going to win all of them, but just to keep the Stars going and hopefully get to the championship against NPA that year.
For, like you said, Robin Ulrich took over as the coach, and a coaching change from your first year to the second year. How did you feel Robin came in, and just talking about how she came in and changed did she change some of the systems that you guys had, or did the systems stay the same?
Yeah, she changed it, but then there's also Jason, an assistant coach that came in. He coached with Greg a few years back as well, so he kind of had that Greg system still in there, so they kind of worked together, but it was definitely a change, like both on and off the ice. She came up with different ways and ways that she think would help us improve, and honestly, by the end of the day, I think that's exactly what she did.
Just talking about you guys last season, you went the team went 12-14-0 and 4, finished 5th place, 62 goals for, 82 goals against. Obviously a lot of inexperience on this team. Would you say that inexperience was one of the things that hurt you guys the most in your second season?
Probably just more not having so much people like know how to play with each other. Like it was definitely more of a mix that last year. So yeah, that definitely came and made an effect on us. But I think even this year now we kind of grew into it, and because all the years before with the Stars, they all knew each other. They all grew up playing with each other. Most of everyone that was there played with each other throughout, so it wasn't much of a change. But going from coming only 6 rookies to 11, definitely.
And could you talk about how this team, a lot of new faces, of course, with 11 rookies and the players that you guys picked up, just how would you say the bonding aspect of things went in that second season?
I think it went pretty well. I think having a fresh start would be good for anyone, and that's exactly what it did for the team. There's always going to be drama, especially with the girls' hockey team, but I think it was a little bit lowered, and it was just a great atmosphere to be a part of, and a lot of the girls who left that year definitely left happy.
When you guys were winning games, what would you say was probably the biggest factor in you guys being able to pull out those wins?
Same thing as the first year. Like we all know that the reason that the Stars were dominating my first year is because we knew how to play together. We took each other's strengths and then put them together to make one big one.
You in the second season, which was last year, of course, in the 2019-2020 season, you had a chance to play in 14 games. You had 6 wins, 6 losses, a .918 save percentage, a 2.41 goals against average, and 1 shutout as well. You improved the save percentage. How would you say that your game took that next step in that second season?
I just was able to read the plays better, and I knew more of what save to make and what time, and I just naturally improved after the first year, especially after like the bronze medal game in Esso, and
Could you speak about how the relationship with you and Arden grew throughout that second season?
I don't know if you knew, but she ended up getting hurt again for, I think I had to play 5 games when she was out. So that kind of helped. So she helped me. I think there's one shootout I had to do within those 5 games. So she was on behind the glass, like trying to help me and keep me going.
Would you say that Arden maybe had one of the biggest impacts on you throughout your time playing with the Stars?
Yeah, definitely one of the biggest because she was my goalie partner, and I think even any goalie partners always have that impact on you.
Let's move into the playoffs. What would have happened if you guys would have been able to play? You guys would have been facing off against Prince Albert. They came in winning 4 straight. It was a hot team. You guys were coming in losing 3 straight. Just looking back at that, I'm sure that you guys were talking about just how you guys were going to prepare for this team, stuff like that. Can you speak about how at the time you guys were preparing to face off against Prince Albert?
We just had the mindset. I don't think we won a game that year yet against them, but we just kind of saying, let's just keep, let's do what we've been doing in practice, have good practice habits. And with the last practice we had before we got the announcement that our season was canceled, like I think it was our best practice we had all year. And all of us were pretty confident that we could really take it out to the Bears on the weekend.
How tough was that? I'm assuming it was so tough. Like everyone I've talked to, it was a sad moment knowing that playoffs were canceled. Just where were you when you heard the news, and just what was going through your mind knowing that you guys weren't going to be able to continue the season?
We actually just had our last practice together and we got off the ice. Like before the practice, our coaches kind of like told us like don't get up quite yet. Like there's apparently some talk going around. Like we might not get to playoffs. But I think we just kind of tried to ignore that. We went right to practice part out and then we got off and then that's when the coaches came into the room and broke the news. So we were all together, which is probably better than if we were all alone.
And just yeah, devastating hearing that news. And just after hearing that news, how long did it take for you to kind of come to terms with it, knowing that it's just the way it goes in these times where you were at, well, at that time?
I came to terms with it like shortly after it happened. Like everyone kind of knew that the world was not doing well with the COVID situation, and as soon as a few months went by, I like kind of understood like this is how it had to go. But we can just try to come back next season, and I know I didn't get to play playoffs, but just gives me more the reason just to try harder for it next year.
What was your mindset going into your third and final season, just of what you were planning to do in the off season?
At the start, before I knew anything more about what COVID had in plan for us, it was just more so like just keep improving and make it like a fun last year, like build good friendships and all of that. But as soon as like we found out that we probably wouldn't have much of a season, I was just like, just have fun. That was probably the biggest thing.
Let's move into this season. You guys ended up playing in 2 games. You guys ended up going 1-1. You ended up playing in both games, going 1-1, of course. .924 save percentage, a 2.53 goals against average. You guys went up against Prince Albert in those 2 games. You lost the opener 3-1, but won the back-to-back 7-2. So just starting off with this, in terms of your season this year, just what do you think was the strongest part of the team this season for you guys, and potentially getting back to the top of the league?
I think just our how well we got along. Like I think this year is definitely the best out of all the years I've been playing with the Stars. Even though we weren't, I think our skill wise wasn't as high as it has been before, but just the way that we clicked with each other and like picked each other up, it really kept the positivity going throughout the whole games. So
Could you speak about the group, because you've already touched on it, how you thought this was the most fun you would have had in this season with this group? You guys only had 6 rookies. You had one who was a goalie and Tora Ward. Just speak about how this group, how you felt you guys would have bonded throughout the season as it would have went along.
I really wish we could have had like our best trips because it would be pretty awesome just to bond with those girls. Like even with the 2 games we played and the practices throughout the season, I had like a blast with them, and we all bonded well and just got along. There's not many problems, well, because it wasn't really a long season, but just went well.
Can you speak about getting to know your goalie partner this year in Tora Ward?
It went well, better than I've ever had. I didn't have any goalie partners for any time growing up. Only Arden was my first. So, and probably through the hard time, it was really good to bond with Tora. Like, I still go to the gym with her, and I can consider her now my best friend. The first time I hung out with her, she came over one night, and right before the day we had pictures, and we put decal pads. So that was a good bonding moment.
Sounds pretty awesome for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, getting to do that. Always great to have those moments in sports for sure, especially when you're playing on a team that you played on for 3 seasons to do that in your final season sounds awesome. For you, you you went 1-1 this year, of course, with a .924 save percentage and a 2.53 goals against average. Could you speak about the things that you liked in your game this season compared to other years? I know you spoke about it a bit last time, but could you dive into it a bit more at this point?
I liked how I was more consistent. Like usually I'd have it wouldn't all be like well, it's never always the same, but it's just like I had consistent saves. I was consistent with my stick saves and playing the puck. It wasn't like not one moment I wasn't, one moment I was. It was just like kind of all flowing together. Like I couldn't really piece out anything that I would want to like greatly do better at. It was just kind of even.
What were you guys working on after you guys weren't able to be on in normal practices with each other? Of course, with the COVID rules, changing stuff up with the restrictions. Just what would you say the practices were like, the team sessions when you were able to attend them this season?
It was just more building on your skills that you already had before, not so much like getting technical and like trying to learn new things so late in a season when we don't even have any games. It was just more so like let's just do something simple, like just have some fun, do some battle drills, do some things that we always have to do as a goalie, and just stuff like that.
What would you say were the things that you've been working on the most throughout that time?
For both Tor and I mostly worked on like things tight in the crease, so like walkouts and like just things closer to the boards, and then also just like one-on-one play. We had especially the last like month or so, we had a lot of 2-on-0s, 1-on-0s, and stuff like that.
How would you say that this time you've had to develop your skills, get them to where you want them to be, is going to benefit you heading into your first season of playing at that university level with Maryville University?
It's definitely going to give me like a base to start at. I already know I'm going to have to like change some things up because it is a new level of hockey, but I feel like I am going to go in strong, and especially after the summer of working with my goalie coach, and it will definitely help.
You've had a chance to spend 2 full seasons with Saskatoon. You had a chance to play a bit in your third and final season this year. Just speak about how Saskatoon has impacted your hockey career throughout these past 3 seasons.
I met many great girls and had amazing coaches and had amazing friends outside of hockey as well, and all my supports with my billet parents is just something that could really help me grow as a person, not only as a hockey player. It's just something that can help me move on with my life and get ready for the next big move to St. Louis.
I gotta ask you this one. I think I'm gonna know the answer when you answer the question, but gotta ask it. Just 2 full seasons with the team, getting to play a bit of your third season this year. Just is there a certain memory that you can look back on and say, "Oh, I'll never forget this during my time playing for Saskatoon"?
Definitely Esso, and
Right.
also going Mandy Sports the first year. Then we won. There's a lot of funny memories we had with that, and if anyone was on my team, they would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. I hope you guys enjoyed today's edition of the show with Kaitlyn Cadrain. I want to thank her for once again coming on the show for the second time ever on Coffee with Graeme to talk about her 3-year career with the Saskatoon Stars. I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in today, and I also want to thank our sponsors in Pure Nata, Fabricland Winkler, and Evolve Green for sponsoring today's episode. I'll be back on the network on Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time for another edition of MFHL season coverage. But until Thursday, folks, I've been your host, Graeme Forsyth, signing off now. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe out there. And until Thursday, I'll see you then.